Hello students, good morning all of you. Once again, a warm welcome to the Computer Networks online session. So today, video number 18, which also belongs to the unit number 3. So as usual, before going to start the session, just we recall what we discussed in the past session. So already we completed 5 videos which related to this unit number 3. So unit number 3 is the data link layer. In this data link layer unit, in previously we completed the major services provided by the data link layer. That is service provided to the network layer and framing concept, error control, flow control, and we discussed about error detection and correction methods. There in the past video we completed error detecting codes. So error detecting techniques that what we completed in the past video. So in the first video, we completed a data link layer service provided to the network layer. Uh, in the next video, we covered about framing concept, and then we completed error control and flow control in one video. And in the past session, we successfully discussed about error detection and correction techniques. Now, in this video, we will discuss about error correction techniques. So this is the overview of data link layer. So data link layer in between physical layer and network layer. So the major responsibilities of data link layer already we discussed: framing, flow control, error control, and medium access controls. So these are the main data link layer design issues. Services provided to the network layer, framing, error control, and flow control. These are the four major design issues of data link layer. In the with the past videos, we covered all these topics in the previous videos. How it provides services to the network layer, and what is meant by framing concept, what is meant by bit stuffing and character stuffing, and how we have to be control the errors by using acknowledgement techniques and a flow control technique. So that's what we covered in the past videos. So we all covered these topics: stuffings, error control, flow control, so error correction and detection techniques, and types of errors. So in error detection techniques, in the past video, we completed these error detection techniques: vertical redundancy check, longitudinal redundancy check, cyclic redundancy check, and checksum. So that what we covered in the past video. So vertical redundancy check, which only the vertical redundancy check or parity check, which only covers the odd parity. So here the parity generator will generate either 0 or 1. If it is the odd parity, it generates 1. If it is the even parity, it generates 0. So example of vertical redundancy check and longitudinal redundancy check. Here yeah, both the disadvantage of vertical redundancy check, it only checks the odd numbers. That is the main disadvantage of VRC. To overcome that, so longitudinal redundancy check, here we check both odd parity and odd numbers, and along with the even numbers also. And one more cyclic redundancy check, the best one in the error detection techniques, and checksum. The next one is the checksum. So in the past video we covered these topics. Now we are entering into the error correction techniques. So what is meant by error correction? So after detecting the errors, so how we have to be detecting errors, that what we covered in the past video. There are four techniques are there for detecting the errors. That is the vertical redundancy check. Second one is polynomial redundancy check, cyclic redundancy check, and next one is the checksum. These are some of the techniques. So VRC, VLC, vertical redundancy check, and checksum, we checksum, CRC, cyclic redundancy check. So these are the four: longitudinal redundancy check, vertical redundancy check, CRC, and checksum. These four are the major error detection methods. So by using redundancy concept, so by sending some of the duplicating data along with the original data, they can identify the errors. So after immediately identifying the errors, how it corrects that errors is a topic what we have to be discussed here. After identifying the errors, so what we will discuss in the previous concept is after identifying the errors, again it resends that particular frame immediately for the receiver perspective. So here in the error correction, so after identifying the errors by using those four techniques, so vertical, longitudinal, and cyclic redundancy check and checksum. By using those four techniques, they can identifying the errors. Then how we have to be detect the errors, correct the errors is by immediately resend the frame. So once detect the errors must be corrected. So after detecting the errors, so error correction must be required. So how we have to be correct the errors is there are two techniques for error correction. First one is retransmission. That's what we discussed. So retransmission, immediately retransmitted the frame is the one of the best technique of error correction technique. Here the simplest, effective and most commonly used technique involves correction by retransmission of data by the sender, popularly called automatic repeat request, ARQ. ARQ means automatic repeat request, which is the best technique used immediately when after identifying the error. And next one is the forward error correction, FEC. So receiving device can correct the errors itself. So here forward error correction. First one is retransmission. After identifying the error, immediately resend the frame is the retransmission technique. And forward error correction is the receiver device can correct the errors where the errors can be occurred. That errors can identified by the receiver device, and automatically the receiver device can uh, correct that particular errors is called forward error correction. And these two techniques are the error correction techniques. There are please note it down, guys. There are four techniques for error detection. Those are vertical redundancy check, longitudinal redundancy check, cyclic redundancy check, and checksum. So what happened there in vertical redundancy check? There the parity generator identifies the odd parities. If it is the odd parity, if it is the odd parity, it generates 1. If it is the even parity, the generator will generate 0. Generator will generate 0. So, but the disadvantage of vertical redundancy check is it only checks the even number of frames, the odd number of frames only. So that is the disadvantage. To overcome that, so longitudinal redundancy check is implemented. In longitudinal redundancy check, every line, it may be odd or even, every frame is checked there in the for error in the longitudinal redundancy check. And third one is the cyclic redundancy check. There we are using some polynomial expressions. And last one is the checksum. There we are adding all the frames and sending that to the receiver, and receiver again adding all the numbers, and if it is it matches with that, automatically they accepts the frame. So that is the checksum. There are four techniques we are using for the error detection. After detecting the error, immediately we are applying the error correction techniques. There are two error correction techniques are there. What is that is first one is retransmission. So immediately retransmitted the data frame is the retransmission technique, and second one is the forward error correction. Here in the forward error correction, so the receiver device can correct the errors itself. That is the forward error correction. Two techniques noted down: retransmission, forward error correction. For error detection, four techniques. For error correction, there are two techniques. So error correction. So a message that may be a frame consisting of m data. That means a message, a number of bits and redundancy bits. So it yielding on n. Why we are sending here the redundancy bits? We already discussed it in the previous video. So error detection is done by using redundancy. Error detection is done by using redundancy. That means we are adding some additional amount of bits to the original data. So we are adding some additional amount of bits to the original data to identifying the errors, to detecting the errors. So message, that means frame consisting of m data, original data bits, and as well as r redundancy bits. So n is equals to m plus r minus bit, that is code word. So how we have to be yielding the error correction is n is equals to m plus r. M is the original data, r is the redundancy, duplicate data what we have to be transmitted along with the original data, that is m plus r minus bit, that is the code word. So the Hamming distance we are using here, it given any two code words. we can determine how many of bits differ. The simply we are using exclusive XOR, the two words, and count the number of one bit in the result. So here the significance, if two code words are a d bit apart are a d errors and required to convert one to the other. So here the code is the Hamming distance. So Hamming distance code we have to be using for the error correction technique here. The minimum Hamming distance between any two of its legal code words. To detect d, one bit errors require Hamming error distance, that is d plus 1. So one bit errors can identified by using Hamming distance code. So we are moving to Hamming code. So Hamming code is using to correct one bit errors. So for example, if the value of m is 7, the relation will satisfy if the minimum value of r is 4. So r is nothing but redundancy and 7 is nothing but the original data. So original data along with the 4. So if m is 7, the relation will satisfy if the minimum value of r is 4. Why? Because 2 power 4 is equals to 16. That is equal to 7 plus 4 plus 1. That is greater than 7 plus 4 plus 1. 2 power 4. So minimum 2. So where we have to put the Hamming code is, note it down, 1, 2, 4, 8, 1, 2, 4 and 16. Like in this manner, we are placing the Hamming bits in the original data. If the value of m is 7, when it will satisfy is the minimum value of 4. Why? Because 7 plus 4 plus 1. So 12 is 12 is less than 16. 16 is greater than 12. For that purpose, 2 power 4. So number of data bits k is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number of redundancy bits 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4. So 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6, 4 and 7 for 4. So total bits k plus r. So number of data bits along with the redundancy bits 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 and 11. 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 and 11. So Hamming code example. So if the number of data bit is 7, then the position of redundancy bits are. So where we have to place the redundancy bits. So how the system is identify the redundancy bits is. So already we are discussed. So along with the original data, it sends some redundancy bits for, to identifying the errors. So where we have to put that particular redundancy bits. If the original data is 7, where we have to put the duplicate data is 2 power 0 and 2 power 2. So 2 square 4 and 2 power 0 is 1. So 2 power 1 is equals to 2 and 2 power 3, that is equals to 8. So where we have to put is in the position of 8, in the position of 1, in the position of 2, in the position of 4 and in the position of 8, where we are placing the Hamming bits. So Hamming bits, where we have to be placing Hamming bits. Hamming bits are placing in the place of 1, 2, 4, 8. 1, 2, 4, 8. 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3. So 2 power 0 is equals to 1. So here we are placing F1, R1, redundancy bit. So this is the redundancy bit 1. Where we are placing redundancy bit 2 is so 2 power 1, that is 2, and 2 power 2, 4, and 2 power 3, 8. So here we are placing Hamming bits. So this is the original bits 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. So total size is 11. Why the total size is 11? 7 plus 7 are the original bits. 4 are the minimum redundancy bits we have to add to the original data, plus 1 is the checksum we have to be adding. So code word. So m plus r and right. So we are placing. If it is a 7 is the original data, minimum 4 bits. If 7 is the original bits, if total number of bits we can transmit is 7. So along with 7 original bits, minimum 4 duplicate bits we can add with the original data, right? Where we can place the duplicate bits. So total frame size is 11 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on 11. In this 11, 7 bits are the original bits and 4 bits are the duplicate bits. So where we have to place the duplicate bits, so that is called redundancy bits. Where we have to place the redundancy bits is in the place of 2 power 0, in the place of 2 power 1, in the place of 2 power 2, in the place of 2 power 3. There we are placing the redundancy bits. So in the 2 power 0 1th location, second location, fourth location, and eighth location, we are placing the redundancy bits R1, R2, R4, and R8, and rest of all places we are placing the original data D. So error correcting bits. These 4 are the error correcting bits. Already some duplicate data is placing there in error detection. So Hamming code. So R1 will take care of these 3 bits. So R1 will take care about R2, R4, and R8. So total 4 redundancy bits we are adding with the original 7 bits. So total 7 bits and 4 redundancy bits. So 11 bits we are placing. 7 plus 4. 7 is original data, 4 is redundancy data, duplication of data. So 7 plus 4. Where we are placing redundancy of data? 1, 2, 4, 8 location. Why? Because by using this scenario. By using this scenario, we can placing 1, 2, 4, 8. Here in this, the R1 will take care about remaining 3. Here the R2 will take care about remaining 3. And R4 will take care of remaining bits, and R8 will take care of these bits. So R1 will take care of these bits, and R2 will take care of these bits. R1 and R2 will take care of these bits, and R4 will take care of with these 3 bits, and R8 will take care of these 3 bits. Right? So total 11 bits. In that, 7 is the original bit, and 4 are the duplicate redundancy bits. So this is the redundancy bit R1, R2. R2 take care of these bits. R4 take care of these bits, and R8 will take care of these bits. Now data 1001101. So this is the location example. Now direct example. The original data is 1001101. 1001101. So 1001101. 1001101. So adding R1, adding R2, and adding R4, and adding R8. So now the code is, so 1001 we are adding, 1001 we are adding. These are the redundancy bits. For example, if you have to add 1111 also, 000 also, 0101 also, 1010, whatever it may be. Here I am adding in this example 1001. So in R1 place I am adding 1, R2 place I am adding 0, and R4 place I am adding 0, and in R8 place I am adding 1. So these are the redundancy bits I can adding with the original data. So these are the original 7 bits, 1001101. These are the original 7 bits. Along with this original 7 bits, 1001. These are the duplicating bits we are adding. So now it becomes 100111101. This is the code. So actual data is this. So after adding some Hamming bits, that is the redundancy bits to the original data, now the code is becoming like this. So original data, Hamming bits, this one is the code. So I'm already discussed where we have to add the redundancy bits, that is depending upon 2 power 0, 2 power frame size, depending upon frame size. If the frame is 17, we are also adding there in the 16th location also. If the frame is 32, there we can add in the 32 location also. So 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, 2 power 5, 2 power 6. By using depending upon the frame size, you can adding the redundancy bits. So here only the original data is 7. That's why you can adding just only 4 redundancy bits. If the frame size is 16, original data is for example 13, there we can adding some more additional redundancy bit also, because 2 power 4 is also available, 16. So in these 4 locations only we can adding redundancy bits. So this is the original data along with some redundancy duplicate of data. Now the code is like in this way. So data is changed to in this way. So let receiver receives. So this is the original data along with duplicate data. Now the let receiver receives 1001001000101. Receiver receives 100100101. I think there may be error, right? Actually, we are sending 100 111 00101. Actually, we are sending 100 111 00101. In that 100 111 is the original data, and 1001 is the redundancy to adding data. Now, after adding these bits, the code is like this: 100 111 00101. Now, this code is moving to the receiver end. It becomes 100 101 001. So here one is missing. So 1 1 1 1 0, total 7. So the bit in position 7 is an error. So the bit in position 7 is in error. Why? Because we already discussed it. So R1 will take care about this, and R2 will take care about this, R4 will take care about these 3 bits, and R8 will take care about these 3 bits. Now 1 1 1 and 0. So why? Because R1 1, R2 will take care about these bit, R2 will take care about these bit 1. Now R4 will take care about these R4 will take care about these 3 bits. Now by adding these 4 bits, that's why we are discussing here. We are performing XOR operation. We are performing XOR operation. So where we are performing XOR operation. So R1 performing XOR operation. R1 will take care about this. So R1 performing XOR operation on this. R2 performing XOR operation on these 2 bits. R4 will perform XOR operation on these 4 bits. R8 will perform XOR operation on these 4 bits. So now by performing XOR operation 1 1 0 1 0 1 00 1 and 1 0 0 1, by performing XOR operation, now it becomes 0. So by performing XOR operation on R1, that is 1, performing XOR operation on R2 and original data, that is 1, performing XOR operation on R4 and R4 range data 0 1 0 1 0. So performing, that is 1. So now the total is 7. The bit in position 7 is in error. In this way we can identifying the error. So the 7th bit position 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, the 7th bit position is error. So the Hamming code cannot correct a burst error directly. The Hamming code cannot correct a burst error directly. It is possible to rearrange the data and then apply the code. So it cannot directly modifying the data. It rearranges the data and then apply the code. Instead of sending all the bits in the data unit together, we can organize n units in a column. So send the first bit of each followed by the second bit of the each and so on. So first bit followed by second followed by third, like in this way. In this way, if the burst error of m bit occurs m less than n, then the error does not corrupt m bit of single unit. It corrupt only one bit of unit. Then we can correct by using Hamming code scheme. So like please note it. So this is the burst error. So code word 1, code word 2, code word 3, and code word 4. So in the sender side, by sending this in between the error at the location. So code word 1, code word 2, code word 3, and code word 4. So here error, and here also error. Code word here also an error, and here also an error. Right? Sender sending whatever the 4 frames, in that every frame one bit is modified. So the functions and requirements of the data link layers are the basic functions of layer is to transmit frames over a physical communication link, and transmission may be half duplex or full duplex. Here the transmission may be a, we already discussing about the transmission mediums of the simplex, half duplex and full duplex in the first unit. Simplex means only one side transmission. Half duplex means two-way transmission, but only at a time either sending or receiving is possible. Full duplex means two-way transmission, both sending and receiving is possible in same clocks, in the same time. So that is full duplex. So the basic function. So here with this, we are handling the Hamming code technique. So you go through with the material for better understanding the Hamming code examples. So how can we applying the Hamming code? That what we will discuss here. So we are adding, so these are the some of the techniques of error correction, retransmission and forward error correction. In the retransmission, Hamming code we have to be using. So we are adding some Hamming bits, redundancy bits to the original data. Where we have to add the redundancy bits to the original data, that will be depending upon this scenario. And how can we have to calculate the errors is in this manner. So by performing XOR operation. So now the functions and requirements of the data link protocol. So the basic function of the layer is to transmit frames over a physical communication. The basic requirement and the basic function of the data link layer is it has to transmit frames over a physical communication by using a physical transmitting the frames is the major responsibility of data link layer. The transmission may be a half duplex or full duplex to ensure that frames the delivered free of errors to the destination station IMP. A number of requirements are placed on a data link protocol. The protocol should be capable of performing. The protocol should be capable of performing the identification of a frame. It has to done. The transmission of a frame has to done. The detection of transmission errors. That retransmission of frames and assurance that no frame were lost. So these are the some performance done by the data link layer. What data link layer has to perform? It has to identification of a frame. It has to transmission of frames. It has to detection of transmission errors. It has to detect the transmission errors, and it has to retransmission of frames which were damaged by errors. It has to retransmit the frame which were damaged by errors, and the assurance that no frame were lost in a multi-drop configuration, and the detection of failure or abnormal situations for controlling and monitoring purpose. These are the main functions and requirement of data link layer. Please note it down. The major requirements and functions are in generally up to now we are discussing there are four major responsibilities of data link layer. One is providing service to the network layer. Second one is error control and flow framing. Second one is framing. Third one is error control, and fourth one is flow control. Already we are discussing about the data link layer design issues, and already we are discussing about the data link layer requirements and the responsibilities. Now the functions and the basic the major requirements of the data link layers are these: identification of a frame for transmission, transmission of a frame, detection of errors, and if error is found by using four design issues. So in the servicing to the network layer, framing, error control, and flow control. By using four requirements, the major functions and requirements of data link layer is identification of frame, transmission of frame, detection of retransmission of errors. After identifying error, retransmit the frame, and assurance there is no frame lost, and the multi-drop configuration and detection of failure and abnormal situation. These are the main functions and requirements of data link layer by depending on those four data link layer design issues. So these are the some of the protocols, elementary data link layer protocols. So we will discuss about these protocols in the coming video. Right now we are completed in this session about the data link layer error correction techniques. So in the previous video we completed error detecting techniques. There are four error detection techniques are there: cyclic redundancy check, checksum, vertical redundancy check. So and next one is the polynomial longitudinal redundancy check. So vertical redundancy check, longitudinal redundancy check, cyclic redundancy check, and checksum. These four are the error detection technique by using redundancy. So how can we, after identifying error detection, how can we correct the errors? So error correction may be done in two ways. So that is one is retransmission, second one is forward error correction. Retransmission is simply transmitting the frame again. There is no problem with retransmission. How the receiver correct the errors. So how the receiver will correct the errors. For that purpose, we will discuss about the Hamming distance technique. Here in the Hamming code, how we have to be adding some additional Hamming bits to the original data. So we are adding some additional Hamming bits to the original data. That's what we have to be covered in this video. So that is error correction codes. So, and major functions and requirements of data link layer. And in the next video, we will discuss about the some of the elementary data link layer protocols, which are also the important there in the unit number 3, the main protocols. So which are also there in the unit number 2 also. That's why I'm discussing it in the first video of this unit. Some of the concepts here in the unit number 3 also there in the unit number 2 also. So you will observe the syllabus of unit number 3 and unit number 2. You can easily identify which are the topics are common in both units. Right? Thank you very much.